Welcome to another session where we want to define accuracy and precision. We want to look at how they work. We want to see when we're given numbers, how can we look at those numbers in the way of accuracy, which ones were accurate and which ones were precise. So before anything, we want to define and talk about these words and give meaning to them. What do we mean by accuracy? And what do we mean by precision? So we can look at from this question here. This was a question that was given in your chemistry 1010 code tutorial sheet. It was saying for medical students were asked to conduct an analysis for glucose in a patient's blood and obtain the following results. So these were the results for the first student A. Student B had the following results. Student C had the following results. And student D had the following results. And we're given that the true value here is 59.8 milligrams per deciliter. Then they asked the following questions. Which student is most accurate? The second question was, which student is most precise? And the third question was, which student had the best combination of accuracy and precision? So we want to give meaning to these two words, accuracy and precision. So I will define these words and I'll talk about what they mean. So I'll start with the word accuracy. When you emphasize or when you hear the word accuracy in terms of numbers, they're asking you to say, are the values that you've been given very close to the true value? Of course, you'll be given a set of numbers like we've been given in this question here. We've been given for the first student, the second student, the third, and the fourth, and we've been given the true value for these numbers here. So how close are those given numbers that are in the students or that the student was measuring, be it an experiment or anything that they were doing? How close were those numbers to the exact value, the true value? And then the word precise or precision is looking at, were those numbers really close to one another? So I'll repeat myself. Accuracy is how close your numbers are to the true value, and precision is how close those numbers are to one another. So I'll illustrate to talk about to emphasize the point I'm trying to talk about here. Let's take for instance, you've been given something like a target. You've been told to hit here, and then you discovered to say in your first attempt you hit there, you hit there, you hit there, and you hit there. And this is the exact point we're supposed to hit, or this is the true point we're supposed to hit. Then you hit there, then you hit there, you hit there, and you hit there. So this means that you are very close to this value that was here, or to the exact point where you were told to hit. The main target was here. So you are very close to this. So this is a symbolic presentation of accuracy. At least you are very close to the exact value that was pointing here. And then you discovered to say this was the exact same point where you're supposed to hit. Then you are just too close to maybe this point here was the point where you are hitting the most. So these numbers here were precise. Why were they precise? Because they were very close to one another. And these values that were here were accurate because you are close to the exact value. So that is the difference between accuracy and precision. Accuracy is how close the numbers are to the exact value, the true value. Precision is how close the numbers are to one another. And we just need to make sure to say the difference between those numbers are less than zero point 0.5. If they're above zero point 0.5, they're not precise. If they're less than zero point 0.5, they're precise. Same goes to the word accuracy or accurate. If those numbers are accurate, you're supposed to make sure to say those numbers that you've been given, the difference between the numbers that you've been given and the exact same value must be less than zero point 0.5. If they're greater than zero point 0.5, it means that they were not accurate. So that is a symbolic presentation of what it means to be accurate and precise. So let's get into the question and see what we can do from here. So let's get in. So these are the answers to the solutions. These are the answers to the questions, of course, not to the solutions. We were given the first student here, and the student was student A. Student A had the following numbers: 59.6, 60.0, and 59.9. So the first thing we want to do here is that when we want to determine the accuracy of these values, of course we've got three values here, but first of all we're going to find out the mean of these values. And when you find out the mean, you discover to say, and of course let's not forget to mention that we'll be given the exact same value, the exact value, true value of all these students, of all these was the true value. I'll indicate it here. So the true value that was given in this experiment was 59.8 milligrams per deciliter. This was the exact or the true value that was given. So for student A, we want to find out, was it accurate or was it precise? So first of all, for accuracy, I'll try to find the mean for these numbers that are here. So when you punch on your calculator here, or to find the average of these numbers that are here, you just say 59.6 plus 60.0 plus 59.9 divided by 3. So the number that you must get from there is 59.8 milligrams per deciliter. So now what you want to do from here is this: you found out that the mean for student A is 59.8 from these numbers that are here. So now compare this number to the exact value or the true value. This is 59.8 and this is as well as 59.8. Is there any difference between the two numbers? Okay, of course, when I find the difference between 59.8 and 59.8, I'm getting a difference of 0. And getting a difference of 0 means that there was really no difference between these numbers. So this proves that this number was very accurate. The student was very accurate, but were they precise? So to find precision, I said this is how close the numbers are to one another. So when you look at the arrangement of these numbers, 59.6, 60.0, 59.9, were these numbers really close to one another? Let's find out the difference between the two. If I find out the difference between 60.0 minus 59.6, you discover to say I'm getting a value of 0.4. And finding out the difference between 59.9 minus the 60.0, I'm going to get a difference of 0.1. So the difference between these numbers here are less than 0.5. It means that these numbers were precise. So in terms of precision, so these were accurate. So in terms of precision, you can check to say in the first one we had a difference of 0.4, in the second one we had a difference of 0.1, and these numbers here are less than 0.5. Hence this was precise. Let's go to the second student, student B. Student B, what were the numbers? We had 59.1, 60.4, and 59.5. This is not 69 but 59.5. Let me write it properly there. So this is 59.9. So the first thing that we did from there was to find the mean. And I know you've understood on how to find the average or the mean of these numbers here. You just add all the numbers and then divide by how many there are. So when you find the mean for that number, you're going to have 59.7. So 59.7 here is the mean. So now ask yourself, are these numbers accurate? So let's compare the mean to the exact value that were given for these numbers. The true value, the exact value was 59.8. So when you find the difference between 59.8 and 59.7, you're going to have a difference of 0.1. So here there's a difference of what? 0 0.1. And this 0 0.1 difference is less than what? It is less than 0 0.5. So it means that these numbers were what? Were accurate. So this was accurate. Nice. So now how about precision? Precision, we are trying to look at how close these numbers were to one another. Were they really close to one another? So the difference between 60.4 and 59.1 is what? It's giving me 1.3, and the difference between 59 and the difference between 59.5 minus the 60.4, I am getting a difference of 0 0.9. And then so I am trying to find out the difference between 59.5 and 60.4. I'm getting a difference of 0 0.9, and here I'm getting a difference of 1.3. So you've seen that the precision here is greater than it is greater than 0 0.5. So what does that mean? It means that these numbers were not precise. Were not precise because the difference between them was greater than 0 0.5. So these numbers were not really close to one another. So we disqualify this as being precise. So this was not precise. So what I will do is I will indicate that using the red part. So these numbers were not precise. Let's get to student C. Student C, what were the numbers? For the third student, we had 59.5, we had 60.1, and we had 59.3. So this question is in your tutorial sheet. For those that are doing health sciences, you discovered to say this question is there. So follow through and make sure that you understand on how you're supposed to get the accuracy and precision. So what are we supposed to do here? We're supposed to find the mean. What's the mean for these numbers? The mean for these numbers is 59.6. What was the exact value? Remember we were given the exact value. The true value is 59.8. The 59.8 minus the 59.6 is the difference between the two numbers greater than 0.5 or less than 0.5. I think that number is less than 0.5, and that number is 0.2. So these numbers are what? Are accurate. They are accurate. Accurate. What was the difference? The difference was 0.2 between the exact value and the mean for this number here, which is less than 0.5. Were they precise? Let's find out. So precision, remember again, I'll repeat myself, how close these numbers are to one another. So let's find out the difference between these numbers here. I'll start with the first one, 60.1 minus 59.5. So 60.1 minus 59.5, I'm getting a difference of 0.6. And how about 59.3? This number here, 59.3 minus 60.1. I'm getting a difference of what? 0.8. So this difference between these numbers here is greater than 0.5. So what does that mean? They were not precise because those numbers are greater than 0.5. They're just way too apart from one another, or they're not really close to one another. So this disqualifies it. These were not precise. I will indicate not precise. And of course, we move to the last one. We're looking at student D. Student D, what were the numbers? For the last student, we had 59.7, we had 60.0, and we had 59.9. What's the mean for these numbers? The mean for these numbers was 59.9. What's the difference between the mean for these numbers for student D uh, with the exact value, the true value, I am getting a difference of, so the exact value was 59.8 minus 59.9. I'm getting a difference of zero point 0.1. So these numbers were what? Were accurate. These numbers were accurate. But were they precise? Let's find out. So for precision, what is the difference between these numbers here? I'll start with the first one, 60.0, 60.0 minus 59.7. I am getting a difference of zero point 0.3 here. And what about 59.9 minus 60.0? I am getting a difference of zero point 0.1. So you could see that the difference between these numbers here was less than zero point 0.5. So it means that the numbers for student D were really close to one another. So it tells you to say these numbers were what? Were precise. Precise. Good. So we're done with everything. So we just have to answer the questions that were given. So from the questions that were given, the first question was saying which student is most accurate. So amongst the students that we have here, we're looking for the one that is accurate, the most accurate. So let's look at the first student. For the first student, it was accurate. Second, accurate. Third, accurate. And the last one for student D, they were accurate. But which one was the most accurate? So let's look at the difference in between the difference between the mean and the exact value for each individual student. So for the last one, we had a difference of zero point 0.1. Student D C, we had a difference of 0.2. Student B, we had a difference of zero point 0.1. And the first student, which was student A, we had a difference of what? We had a difference of 0 because 59.8 minus 59.8 just gives you a difference of 0. So that tells you to say this was most accurate. Most accurate because there was no difference at all. So this was most accurate. Good, we are done. We move on. They're asking which student is most precise. So we're now looking for the student which is most precise. The first one was precise. How about the second one? No. The third one? No. And the fourth one, yes, the student D was precise. But what makes the best difference between the first student, which was student A, and student D? So student D, let's look at the difference in between these numbers. We have a difference of zero point 0.3 here, and we have a difference of zero point 0.4 there. We have a difference of zero point 0.1 here, and we have a difference of zero point 0.1 here. So which one was most precise here? So remember there's zero point 0.3 here and there's 0 0.3 here. So you know that 0.4 is greater than 0.3. So this was most precise. So student D was most precise. Good. Finish up the work here. So the last student, student D, was most precise. The one that was most accurate was the first student. How about the last question? What were they asking for? The last question they were asking which student had best combination of accuracy and precision. So we look at those that had the best combination of accuracy and precision. So we won't touch B and C because those ones were not precise. We're looking for those that had the best combination of accuracy and precision. So let's look at the first student and the last student. The first one, which was A, had a difference of 0 here for accuracy, and the difference between these values for precision were not so bad, they were okay. And we come here the difference was for accuracy, we had a difference of zero point 0.1, but precision it was the best. So of course we'll settle with the first one. So the first one was more precise and it was more accurate. So we'll indicate this one as most accurate, and of course it was most precise. In fact, they are asked which student had best combination of accuracy and precision. So, best precision. Okay, that best precision and accuracy. So, for the first student or student A. So basically, this is how you define the word accuracy and precision. Remember, accuracy is how close the numbers are to the exact value, and what do we do to find out how those numbers are or how close they are to the exact value? We find the mean of those numbers and we compare the mean to the exact value or the true value. Then the word precision is how close those numbers are to one another. And we use and the difference between those numbers must be less than zero point 0.5. So if they're less than zero point 0.5, they're precise. And if the difference between the exact value and the mean of those numbers are less than zero point 0.5, it means that the numbers are what? Are accurate. So that's the difference between accuracy and precision. So thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to interacting with you more. Please feel free to share your questions in our inbox and then get back to us. This has been Blessings Academy of Health Sciences. We look forward to meeting you next time. Thank you.